Welcome. Today we're going to talk about this book here, Future Fossils. It's Footprints in Search of Future Fossils. This book is about what trace fossils specifically will we live behind. I got it because my daughter is a dinosaur lover, and I thought, hey, anything about fossils will be of interest to her. Although the book kind of caught me by surprise, which we'll talk about. Before we get into that, a few ways you can support the channel. Number one is to become a YouTube member. You can do that by clicking the join button below. Get some videos early. You can do super thanks if you like that, if you really like the video, or you can take one of my courses, join me on Discord. There's links to all those types of things below, including a purchase link for this book if you like it. So buckle up. Let's talk about the trace fossils our society will leave behind. So the big thing that caught me about this book was that it is more than just fossils. It's really a book about climate change and the destruction that humanity is doing to the world. He doesn't ever say destruction, but he certainly highlights a lot of damage we are doing and how the damage we are doing will live like hundreds and hundreds of generations from now. One of the big things he would talk about is the roads, how roads will show we took like resources from one area that didn't have the types of resources to build roads and move them to like the other side of the world in some cases to build roads. These roads will live far beyond. We'll be able to tell, thousands of years from now that the road went here because of compaction, because of the aggregate that's in this area, because of there's little stones, there's other things that literally would not exist in this area without us moving them there. He also talks about thin cities that spread out next to water that are going to, as the sea level rises, we're just going to lose them, and they will be another future fossil. Even as they get sediment laid in them, as they compact, right, thousands of years from now, you'll be able to tell there was like weird metal here. What is all this stuff? That will just show up later. And it is certainly possible that, hundreds of generations from now, they will forget that there was a city in a certain area. And one of the big points that really hit me was the abuse of plastics, and how plastic is never really gone unless it's incinerated. Plastic just breaks down smaller and smaller and smaller until it's like embedded, and until it actually gets compacted over like hundreds of thousands of years, possibly more, and turns itself back into oil. But it doesn't actually go away. It becomes embedded in our ecosystems, in our glaciers, in the bottom of the sea, right? Small sea animals feed on it, fill their stomachs with plastic because they can't tell the difference, and they die because that's it. There's like mass die-offs because of plastics going around. It goes for any type of plastic. He also talked about batteries and a lot of the electronics that we like to buy, and how all of these things take all this rare minerals, these rare earth, rare things, and just turn them into batteries, turn them into stuff that is really bad. In fact, we talked about that a little bit, resource extraction with The Devil's Curve by Arno Kopecky a couple weeks back, which I'll link to above, and how resource extraction creates so much economic damage for the indigenous peoples that live in areas that we don't care about because we're in North America and that's not our backyard. Another big point was our nuclear ambitions, not just nuclear warfare, nuclear bombs and all that testing, although that has, it's a Bikini Atoll that's like won't be inhabitable for like 24,000 years. Insane. But even our nuclear waste being stored underground in spots like, I forget what he said, some absolute like thousands and thousands of generations from now, they'll still be able to detect that there was all the nuclear stuff that we're doing now. We are literally like our great grandchildren's great grandchildren's great grandchildren will be looking at the results of the choices we're making today, and we'll be able to detect they did the first nuclear test right here, they've stored all their nuclear waste at this point right here, and we are literally affecting the environment for all that. So overall, this book really made me think about the type of world I want to leave behind for my children, and how the impacts of my decisions today affect like so many decades and generations from now, which, for me at least reinforces sticking to one car. Riding my bike a lot, and I've been knowing that, say, electric cars, because of all the electronics, because of the batteries, because of stuff like that, are really not the saviors we think they may be. And then they're still actually cars, so they still contribute to all of our traffic problems. Anyway, should you read this book? If you want to get an idea of the ways we live now that are going to affect like so far down the chain, and it doesn't really offer like options for changing these things, but he's just showing the impact that our choices today leave behind for so far into the future. This is a really good book. I very much enjoyed it. I'll be keeping it around as a reference because there's just spurred lots of other good ideas that I'll probably research into later. That, in 2 years from now, you'll hear me talking about. I'll say, this book I reviewed, Footprints. That's it. I think you should read the book. If you liked the video, thumbs up below. If you loved it, subscribe, hit the bell. YouTube will let you know something happened. If you really liked it, you can join, become a member, hit the join button. Super thanks if you like that. Buy the book off the link. Join us on Discord where I talk a little bit about books. That's it. Have a great day.